everybody, and a really warm welcome to our special assembly this morning. It's Reverend Ruth here. Hi guys, and we're going to be talking about Christingle. I hope everybody has certainly owned a Christmas jumper of some sort somewhere in your lives, because life is much better with a Christmas jumper, isn't it? So guys, we're going to be talking about Christingle today. Now I wonder what Christingle is. Let's see. I wonder if there's anything that you can see on the camera that might sort of be thinking of what a Christingle. Oh, Mark.
Hello.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm very fine today. How are you?
You look very, very weird. What are you dressed up as?
To be honest, Ruth, I do feel a little bit weird, a little bit tubby, big and orange with my red ribbon and my sweets, and of course my candle hats. Do you like it?
I do. I think he's been working really hard on that, hasn't he, everybody? I wonder if you guys could make one of those at home. I don't think you could. It looks really tough to make. So, what are you dressed as?
An orange?
Ah, you're an orange, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be a Christingle thing. What do you think at home? Do you guys have an orange at home that you might want to make into a Christingle?
Yeah, so I am dressed as a Christingle, but all these bits and pieces, I don't really know what it all means.
Ah, right. Well, what do you think an orange might be about? I mean, you do look very cool, can I just say?
Yeah, thank you.
You do look very cool. What do you think an orange might be for, I'm wondering?
Well, I'm big and round.
You are big and round. You're orange.
I'm orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that maybe, perhaps, you might be potentially a similar sort of size to the world. What do you guys think at home? Do you think he's relatively world-shaped? I think he might well be. But anyway, do you remember in 2019, there was a massive climate emergency, and we had amazing people in the world like Greta Thunberg, who was talking about raising our awareness of the climate change. Do you remember that last year?
I do.
It feels like a long time ago, doesn't it?
A long time ago.
Really long time ago. Well, do you remember also the plastic problem that we had? We had this whole big thing about how horrible plastic is, and it's ending up in our streams and all the way up in the Antarctic. And how can possibly a plastic bottle end up by a polar bear? It's just madness. There's just that much plastic in the world, isn't there? It's just ending up all over the place. Well, what that's making me think of is, do any of you guys have any of these? This year, we've had to have these, haven't we? And I'm going to take it off because you can't hear me properly when I'm wearing one. And this one, Mark, I don't know if you can see, but this one is like one of those disposable ones. And these are, can you see that?
I can.
Have you got one?
Yeah, well, I really like this one because
Mark,
it's not a throwaway one, it's a material one.
So you can just put that in the washing machine and then just put it in the wash and reuse it, can't you?
Oh, yes.
Those are so good, those ones. I hope you guys at home have got the reusable ones. And this one is just rubbish. It's not very comfortable. And I have to throw it away as soon as I've used it, because all of the bad stuff that we're trying to keep away from us all gets stuck in this thing. So that's been something that has been really, really key this year. But Mark, do you remember this year that earlier in the first lockdown, all the way back in March, April time, do you remember when it went really quiet?
I do, actually. At the beginning, when there were no cars on the road.
There was nothing at all, was there?
I loved it.
Wasn't it cool?
Because we had to go out for a walk every day. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
It just felt so safe without cars whizzing by.
Yeah.
And my favourite thing about it was you could hear all the birds. It was like nature had come back to us. It was very cool.
It was awesome, wasn't it? I mean, you went outside and the birds were just amazing, and you could hear them because there wasn't the booming of cars. There wasn't this horrible other world noises around, were there? It was just amazing. So the Christingle, I hope you guys have got a Christingle and know what you need to make a Christingle, and we're going to go through what that is all about, why Mark is dressed like this, looking brilliant, I think, but he thinks he looks like an idiot, which I think he probably does as well, but we'll just keep that between ourselves. We won't tell him that. So what you need an orange. You need a candle. So that's like Mark, an orange. You need a candle. You need some cocktail sticks with some sweets on. And you need, if you've got one, a little bit of red ribbon to go around the outside of your orange. So just exactly what Mark is like, just exactly like that, but in miniature form. So that's what you guys need. So I've got a little candle. The one like this is perfect because then you can put it into the orange and then it goes in and it fits in. So let's go through what this is all about. So the orange, which Mark is fashioning brilliantly, the orange is representing the world. And the world is about the good world that God's created. And we need to look after it. And that's what we're talking about with recycling and with looking after our world. That's what God is asking us to do, is to look after our world. So actually, when you see these on the ground, these are really dangerous for animals. They get their hands stuck through these loops. And then they get their head stuck through it. I can just about get it over my head. You see, and then it's really tight and it's going to strangle me. So these are really bad. And the worst comes to the worst, what you could do is snip the ends, and then they don't get stuck over a bird's head or over a hedgehog's head or anything like that, because then they can be really poorly for it. So just snip those when you're finished with it, just snip them, and then that's going to be less hurting. But what you could do is, if you're going out for a walk with your kids, then you could actually pick some of these up. If you see them on the ground, you could pick them up, couldn't you? That would be cool, wouldn't it? That would be a good way of looking after our world. So the sweets. Let's have a look at the sweets. So Mark's got some really cool sweets here, but I don't think they're edible. Do you think they're edible?
No, sadly not.
I think you guys need some edible ones, okay? Firstly, it's really important that they're edible and they're yummy and they're things that you really like. So things like Dolly mixtures are really good. Or Haribo, you could get those funny egg things that you can, those fried eggs that you get. You could just pop them on a cocktail stick just like this.
Brussels sprouts?
Brussels sprouts are horrible. Do you like Brussels sprouts? Mark is the one person in the world who likes Brussels sprouts. There we go. So we now know where we can deliver all our Brussels sprouts to everybody at home. So, just get some sweets, put them on a cocktail stick. And what they're representing, Mark, I don't know if you know this, but those are representing the seasons of the world. So and the fruits of the world.
That's why we have 4.
That's why there's 4, because there's 4 seasons of the world. Of the world. There's 4 seasons in the year, isn't there? So we're in winter right now. What's the next one that comes after winter?
Spring.
Spring, that's it. It must be followed by summer. So we got what have we got left then? We've got winter, spring, summer. What is it left at home? You guys tell me that right now. What do you think, Mark? What's the 4th one? We've just had it, haven't we? We must have just had it if we were in winter now.
When all the leaves fall, it's autumn.
That's it. It's when the leaves fall down. It's called autumn, and the Americans call it fall because the leaves fall off the trees and everything. So that's a good way of remembering it, is falling off the leaves, autumn. So those represent our seasons, and they represent the fruits of the earth, which are really good to eat, which is why the sweets are really good to eat. So then we've got the candle, which Mark is looking amazing at. And you can see behind us, we've got the Advent wreath just behind us. We've got 5 candles on there, and we've got 3 lit at the moment. So there's going to be another one that's going to be lit on Sunday, and then the last one is lit on Christmas Day. But what does the light of the world represent, do you think? I think we are going to hear about that from our reading, which Mark is going to somehow, in his orange outfit, he's going to read this passage from the Bible for us right now. So Mark, over to you.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it.
I mean, that is just such a cool reading. That last line about the darkness, the light coming into the darkness, and light shining in the darkness. That is what Christmas is all about, and that is what Christingle is all about. Because the light which Mark has got on his head is the light of Christ, and that's Jesus. And Jesus saying that he is the light of the world and he's bringing light into your world and into our world here in this crazy year that we've had. And that is Jesus, the light of Christ, bringing light in dark places. It's been a dark year. Do you think it's been a dark year?
It has.
I mean, it's pretty dark right now because it's like this time of year, we get like 8 hours of light, don't we? It's rubbish. I was out at 7:30 this morning walking my dogs in the dark. I mean, what is that about? 7:30 in the morning and it's dark. But if you just light one little candle, just, whoops, I've dropped my candle. If you just light this one little candle, it doesn't have to be as big as Mark's. You can see how big Mark's is. It's huge. But if you just light this little candle in really pitch black, you will be able to see that from so far. It just shines through, doesn't it? It's amazing. Candles and light just are amazing at giving you comfort and peace and giving you hope in a dark place. And that's what Jesus does. That's what Jesus does, Mark, doesn't he? He gives us hope in dark places and in a dark world, which we're in right now. Jesus is the one who can come and shine a light in the dark places. Now, the last bit that we've got is you're amazing. I think you and I are slightly clashing with my red jumper and your very orange. But you can see Mark's just done a really amazing twirl, and you can see the red ribbon all the way around the middle of his world, of the world. And what that's representing is Jesus' blood. And that we celebrate at Easter. So we're sort of thinking about Christmas, and you can't think about Christmas without looking forwards to Easter, because that's the other major Christian festival that happens around in the church, and that's what happens. And what that's about is that Jesus died on the cross for you and for me because he loves us so much. And that is about remembering and looking forward to that, what happens at Easter. So the blood of Christ is around the world, wrapped like a big hug. Do you like hugs?
Oh, I do.
I like hugs, and I'm missing hugs because we can't hug people at the moment. It's really sad, apart from our families and our bubble, which is not enough people in my mind. I think we should be able to hug way more people than that. So it's like Jesus is doing a big hug around us and going, I love you this much that I will give you a big hug all the way around the world. And it's about Jesus saying that he loves us so, so, so much. So what can we learn from this, and how can we move on from this? Well, what we've learned today is all about the world and kind of looking after our world. So what are the ways that we can look after our world, Mark, do you think? What are some of those ways that we could look after it?
Oh, like you were saying with the mask, not to throw things away, but maybe reuse them or recycle them.
I think that's a brilliant idea. We could reuse things. So like when you've got your orange and you've put your candle in the middle of it, just like what Mark looks like right now, but instead of it being a costume one, it's a real orange. So many people just throw them in the bin. Don't do that. I reckon you can make things out of that orange. What can you make out of an orange, Mark?
You could. Oh, I love marmalade.
I like marmalade too. So you could make some marmalade out of it, just like Paddington Bear. Paddington Bear loves marmalade. So you could make some marmalade out of it. You could juice it, couldn't you?
Oh, nice.
Have it for breakfast tomorrow morning. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Fresh orange juice, nothing better with breakfast, is there? Or what you could do is, if it's gone really manky so that it's all squished and gross, then what you can do is you can put it in your recycling bin that's specially for food, because they pick them up from Yeovil, don't they? And that would be really cool, because then it then moulds down with a whole load of other stuff and it becomes compost. And that's amazing compost, because that can go on your garden and then it can help other things to grow in your garden. So that would be a really good thing to do. I reckon the candle, when you get your candle and put it in the orange, I reckon what you could do with that is you could use that as an Advent candle. So you could count down today, when I'm recording this today, it is, what's the date today, Mark? 15th? 15th.
So something like that.
I think it's the 15th today. So you could count down the last 9 days before Christmas Day, or 10 days if you count Christmas Day itself. And you could divide it into 10 and draw little lines on it, and then use it as an Advent candle and burn a little bit of it a day, which would be quite cool, wouldn't it? So you could make that into an Advent candle. The sweets. Now, what could you do with the sweets, Mark? I wonder.
You could put them away for next year.
Yeah, you could, couldn't you? You could put them away for next year, and then you can do it all again next year. That is an idea, couldn't you? Or you can eat them.
Yay.
Would you like to eat yours?
I would.
Yeah. I think Mark's going to be chopping into his in just a second or two, because that'll be really yummy to eat those sweets and the fruits, the yummy fruits. So yeah, you can do that with the sweets. But recycling's really good. So that's what the biggest thing today is about, remembering that Jesus is doing a big hug around you this Christmas, just like that, as big as Mark's orange that he's made out of, that he's made for us today. And Jesus loves you all. Jesus loves us all. Jesus is here for you, and he is shining a light in the darkness. And that's what the candle is all about. And remember that God loves us to love the world. So we're going to have to think about how it is that we can love our world better in 2021. It's been brilliant to see you. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you hopefully again soon, really, really soon. That would be great. Actually in person, that would be wonderful. Hopefully next year. Have a wonderful Christmas, everybody. Have loads of fun, play loads of silly games. Wear silly costumes just like Mark, because it's so much fun, and I look forward to seeing you all again next year. Bye-bye, everybody. Say bye, Mark.
Bye.